Greetings, my fellow freedom lovers and sovereign thinkers. This is LL3's newest podcast. My name is Craig, and today I am transmitting from the beautiful swampland of the Peach State, which is actually Valdosta, Georgia. And before it was nicknamed the Peach State, it was called the Empire of the South, for all you history buffs out there. Well, today I'm going to be doing a few topics, going to narrate. And the first one came from truthdig.com. Good site, so as I say, always observe responsibly. So it is entitled, Newsflash, Fukushima is still a disaster. It was written by Harvey Weiserman, which was posted today on June 3rd, 2014. Alright, as it reads, the corporate media silence on Fukushima has been deafening, even though the melted down nuclear power plant's seaborne radiation is now washing up on American beaches. Ever more radioactive water continues to pour into the Pacific. At least 3 extremely volatile fuel assemblies are struck high in the air at Unit 4. 3 years after the March 11, 2011 disaster, nobody knows exactly where the melted cores from Units 1, 2, and 3 might be. Amid a dicey cleanup infiltrated by organized crime, still more massive radiation releases are a real possibility at any time. Radioactive groundwater washing through the complex is enough of a problem that Fukushima Daiichi owner TEPCO has just won approval for a highly controversial ice wall to be constructed around the crippled reactor site. No wall of this scale and type has ever been built, and this one might not be ready for 2 years. Okay, Lord willing, or God forbid, more people will get sick. So I will proceed. Widespread skepticism has erupted surrounding its potential impact on the stability of the site and on the huge amounts of energy necessary to sustain it. Critics also doubt it would effectively guard the site from flooding and worry it could cause even more damage should power fail. Meanwhile, children nearby are dying. The rates of thyroid cancers among some 250,000 area young people is more than 40 times normal, according to health expert Joe Magano. More than 46% have precancerous nodules and cysts on their thyroids. This is just at the beginning of a tragic epidemic, he warns. This, however, some good news, exactly the kind of nuclear power industry does not want to broadcast. When the earthquake and consequent tsunami struck Fukushima, there were 54 commercial reactors licensed to operate in Japan, more than 12% of the global total. As of today, not one has reopened. 6 at Fukushima Daiichi will never operate again. Some 30 older reactors around Japan can't meet current safety standards, a reality that could apply to 60 or more reactors that continue to operate here in the U.S. As part of his desperate push to reopen these reactors, Prime Minister Shinzo Abe has shuffled the country's regulatory agencies and removed at least one major industry critic, replacing him with a key industry supporter. Wow, what a concept. Great astuteness there, Prime Minister Abe. But last month, a Japanese court denied a corporate demand to restart 2 newer reactors at the Oi power plant in Fukushima Prefecture. The judges decided that uncertainty about when, where, and how hard the inevitable next earthquake will hit makes it impossible to guarantee the safety of any reactor in Japan. In other words, no reactor can reopen in Japan without endangering the nation, which the court could not condone. Such legal defeats are extremely rare for Japan's nuclear industry, and this one is likely to be overturned. But it dealt a stunning blow to Abe's pro-nuke agenda. In Fukushima's wake, the Japanese public has become far more anti-nuclear. Deep-seated anger has spread over shoddy treatment and small compensation packages given downwind victims. In particular, concern has spread about small children being forced to move back into heavily contaminated areas around the plant. Under Japanese law, local governments must approve any restart. Any nuclear candidates, anti-nuclear candidates, have been dividing the vote in recent elections, but in the moment may be unifying and could eventually overwhelm the Abe administration. A new comic book satirizing the Fukushima cleanup has become a nationwide bestseller. The country has also been rocked by revelations that some 700 workers fled the Fukushima Daiichi site at the peak of the accident. Just a handful of personnel were left to deal with the crisis, including the plant manager, who soon thereafter died of cancer. In the meantime, Abe's infamous, intensely repressive Secret Act has seriously constrained the flow of technical information. At least one nuclear opponent is being prosecuted for sending a critical tweet to an industry supporter. A professor jailed for criticizing the government's handling of nuclear waste has come to the U.S. to speak. The American corporate media have been dead silent or alternatively dismissive about the radiation now washing up on our shores and about the extremely dangerous job of bringing intensely radioactive fuel rods down from their damaged pools. Fukushima General Electric reactors feature spent fuel pools perched roughly 100 feet in the air. When the tsunami hit, thousands of rods were suspended over units 1, 2, 3, and 4. According to the nuclear energy Andre Gunderson, the bring down of the assemblies in Unit 4 may have hit a serious snag. Gunderson says that beginning in November 2013, Tokyo Electric Power removed about half of the suspended rods there, but at least 3 assemblies may be struck. The more difficult half of the pile remains, and the pools at the 3 other units remain problematic. An accident at any one of them could result in significant radiation releases, which already have far exceeded those from Chernobyl and from the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. At least 300 tons of heavily contaminated Fukushima water still pour daily into the Pacific. Hundreds of more tons are backed up on site, with TEPCO apologists advocating they may be dumped directly into the ocean without decontamination. Despite millions of dollars in public aid, TEPCO is still the principal owner of Fukushima. The cleanup has become a major profit center. TEPCO boosted a strong return in 2013. Its fellow utilities are desperate to reopen other reactors that netted them huge annual cash flow. Little of this has made its way into the American corporate media. New studies from the Nuclear Regulatory Commission have underscored significant seismic threats to American commercial nuclear sites. Among those of particular concern are 2 reactors at Indian Point, just north of New York City, which sit near the highly volatile Ramapo Fault, and 2 at Diablo Canyon between Los Angeles and San Francisco, directly upwind of California's Central Valley. The U.S. industry has also suffered a huge blow at New Mexico's waste isolation pilot project, primarily a military dump. This showcase radioactive waste facility was meant to prove that the industry could handle this trash. No expense was spared in setting it up in the salt caverns of the desert Southwest. Officially deemed the perfect spot to dump the 7,000 tons of high level fuel rods now backed up at American reactor sites. but an explosion and highly significant radiation release at the pilot project last month has contaminated local residents and cast deep cloud over any future plans to dispose American reactor waste. The constant industry complaint that the barriers are political is absurd. While the American reactor industry continues to suck millions of dollars from the public treasury, its allies in the corporate media seem increasingly hesitant to cover the news of post-Fukushima Japan. In reality, those gutted reactors are still extremely dangerous. An angry public whose children are suffering has thus far managed to keep all other nukes shut in Japan. If they keep them down permanently, it will be a huge blow to the global nuke industry, one you almost certainly won't see reported in the American corporate media. Very well done, Mr. Wasserman. That's all I have to say about that, my brother. Very nice article. It doesn't matter what political spectrum you're in. We all are very concerned, and many of my fellow colleagues do give a damn about what's going on in Fukushima, Japan, especially what affected the entire Pacific coastline on an aerial sense, because that goes to the jet stream from Siberia to Alaska, along the Canadian Pacific, all the way down to the United States and Mexico and beyond. This is absolutely very nefarious and unacceptable. I am not a fan of nuclear energy overall. It may have some good, but when you have it along fault lines, which many of the nuclear reactors in the United States are on those same parallels with the fault lines as well. It's very scary, because I went to Japan in '97 to do a little tour with the rock band side project. And I can know one thing: Japan is like the most active area in the world when it comes to earthquakes. They always have tremors, buildings are swaying left and right. I thought I was jet lagged. I didn't even party anything like that when I got there. So and that's why I always hoped and pray that something like this would never happen. And unfortunately it did. And I was at a 24-hour diner like 3 in the morning in Fort Lauderdale, Florida, when watching the news about Fukushima, the tsunami, and I hear some twit customer complaining about how pathetic South Florida is. I go, you count your blessings and watch this. All he did, his jaw dropped. Total major reality check. But yeah, the whole thing with the whole corporatism, corporate media, they are right now dying in the hell in a handbasket. So that's why you got sites like Truth Dig, Blacklisted Radio, InfoWars, we can go on, etc. Doesn't matter if you like them or not. The information's out there, and hopefully you share this with people as well. In addition, I am going to be adding an archive that came out May 29th by Energy News. It's about sanatoriums reaches 5 billion cubic meters in basement Fukushima, record levels. And they do have a broadcast about the fishing industry, how the fish are being contaminated in the Pacific Ocean as well, which there's a link to that, which is KUSP. So I am going to add that with this title. Okay, so next one. Actually, I just got this today on my email. Yeah, I get some stuff from Twitter, and mostly Twitter, and I need to get back my RSS subscribe feed, but I get my emails too, which is just as effective. It came out today. It was on by Paul Craig Roberts, if I'm correct. Yeah, Paul Craig Roberts website, which is paulcraigroberts.org, and it's entitled WCT, which is the World Trade Center 7, now a proven case of controlled demolition. As it reads, controlled demolition of WCT 7 now proven. Guest posting by 9/11 consensus panel. Professor Diane Gassner. Guest article on the false flag attacks on His lecture on 9/11 will rescue you from the official lies spurned by the government and prostitute media. And there's a link for that too. The latest research establishes that the World Trade Center 7 building was destroyed by controlled demolition. The press release below will suffice to inform you the latest developments. Press release. World Trade Center 7 Building 7's controlled demolition 9/11 consensus panel releases new evidence from witness testimony and architectural drawings. June 1st, 2014, the 24-member 9/11 consensus panel, which includes physicists, chemists, engineers, commercial pilots, attorneys, and lawyers, today announced 3 new studies confirming the controlled demolition of the World Trade Center 7. The studies scientifically refute the U.S. National Institute of Standards and Technology, which is acronym NIST, claimed that for the first time in history, fire caused the sudden and complete collapse of a large fire-protected steel frame building on 9/11. Note that whereas the consensus panel uses scientific methodology to peer review its work, the NIST report was not peer reviewed. The first panel study deals with the NSIT computer simulations, which purported to show that fuel-induced thermal expansion caused by a girder to be pushed off its seat at column 79, thereby initiating a global collapse of the entire 47 building at 5:21 in the afternoon, which there's a link for that too. However, a recent FOIA request has produced WTC7 architectural drawings showing that the NIST simulations omitted basic structural supports that would have made this girder failure impossible. The second consensus panel study deals with NIST's claim that it did not recover any steel from the massive steel frame skyscraper. There's a link to that too. This is an extraordinary and given the need to understand why a steel frame building would have completely collapsed for the first time in history from the fire alone, and to thereby prevent a recurrence. The third panel study shows that on September 11, 2001, many people were told in advance that WT7 was going to collapse, and they have a link for that as well. MSNBC reporter Ashley Banfield, said early in the afternoon, I've heard several reports from several different officers that now that this building is going to go down next. Many members of the New York Fire Department were confidently waiting for the building to come down. Firefighter Thomas Donato, we were standing, waiting for 7 to come down. We were there for quite a while, a couple of hours. Assistant Commissioner James Dury, I must have lingered there. There were hundreds of firefighters waiting. They were waiting for the 7 World Trade Center to come down. Chief Thomas McCarthy. So when I get to the command post, they just had a flood of guys standing there. They were just waiting for 7 to come down. In addition, CNN and the BBC made premature announcements. This foreknowledge corroborates the evidence presented in the previous consensus points. WCT 12, WCT 5, that WCT 7 was brought down by a controlled demolition. And there's a big contact list and all that. And yes, I can say it myself. I really questioned the horrific events of September 11th, actually the very first time. I'm not being an expert, but I really questioned that immediately. And in addition, how the hell that 3 buildings came down when 2 were hit by airplanes? In addition, plus, if you look up Larry Silverstein, talking about Building 7, there was a PBS video, okay? I think it's called Rebuilding America, the 9/11 tragedy. I could be mistaken, but you probably hit it on YouTube. And Larry Silverstein says about we lost a lot of terrible lives, and they say pull it. When they pull it, the whole building came down. So pull it, and technically, if you watch the whole documentary, I'll try to find that on I'll try to link that on there for this article as soon as if I can, as soon as possible. I'll try to do it. However, I am going to add architects and engineers for 9/11 Truth, 911.org. I know they talk about Judy Wood's question too, about her versions. I'm not going to knock her, all right, but I'm not going to knock her. I might have to read a lot of her work a lot more to make my own judgment. However, regardless of what you think of these individuals, like Judy Wood and of course A&E 9/11 Truth, no one's accepting the official story. So, and I did admit, I made it official 3 days after 9/11 based on all the information that was brought, even in the mainstream media like CNN and Fox News. I told my family it was a New World Order agenda. That's just my perspective, and hopefully I'm mistaken, but based on what has happened, everything became an excuse. 9/11 was an excuse to have the United States become a police state and have the global war on terror. That means terrorizing everybody, including ourselves as citizens or natural-born individuals in our own republic. So, this is it for that. Next thing I'm going to be hitting is from RT America. Came out today. And it's originally from Reuters by Jose Luis Gonzalez. It's entitled, New Mexico Cops Still on the Job After Performing Illegal Anal Probes. As it reads, new police officers in a New Mexico town who forced suspects to undergo multiple forced anal cavity searches are still on the job despite their questionable behavior, according to Watchdog.org. In January, the town of Deming in Hidalgo County settled a lawsuit for $1.6 million over a case of David Eckert pulled over for a minor traffic violation. Eckert was flagged for holding drugs by a canine unit, which would later be found to be operated under expired certification. Police suspected Eckert was carrying drugs in his anal cavity and sought out a search warrant, but then transport the man to a hospital outside the warrant's jurisdiction when the first established refused to conduct the search on ethical grounds. At Gila Regional Medical Center, however, doctors performed 8 separate medical procedures against Eckert's protest, including 2 rectal finger examinations, 3 enemas, and a colonoscopy. Colonoscopy, excuse me. He was forced to defecate in front of doctors and police officers. None of these procedures uncovered any drugs. According to Eckert's lawyer, Shannon Kennedy, not only was the issued search warrant overly broad and lacking in probable cause, but it was only valid in Luna County where Deming is located, and Eckert was arrested. After the first hospital refused to perform the anal search, police took Eckert to Gila, which is located in a separate county altogether. And that is the case. Then the doctor performed all eight of the. Okay, I like that. Looks like they made a typo here. All they had the cavity searches, I would say. To make matters worse, the search warrant expired at 10 p.m. while doctors didn't even begin to prepping Eckert for the colonoscopy until 1 a.m. the next morning, when the warrant has been expired for hours. But Eckert's story wasn't an isolated incident. According to police reports, a man named Timothy Young was also stopped by police after a minor traffic violation. The same unlicensed canine dog, Leo, sniffed drugs on his seat, causing the police force seek a search warrant to search Young's body for illegal substances, KOB-TV reported. Just like Eckert, Young was taken to Gila Regional Medical Center, located in the county not covered by the search warrant, where the doctors performed medical procedures, including finger examines of his anus and a X-ray of his stomach. Young did not consent to his examinations. Again, no drugs were discovered in the body. The Eckerd lawsuit listed Deming Police Department officers, 3 members of the Hidalgo County Sheriff's Office, as well as the doctor at the hospital and the hospital involved. 3 city cops are still listed as active duty, New Mexico Watchdog reported. In a phone interview with New Mexico NM Watchdog, Deming Police Chief Brandon Gigante wouldn't say why they are still active or they were disciplined. That is a personnel matter, he said. After the Eckerd incident, he told KOB, "We follow the law in every aspect, and we follow policies and protocols that we have in place." The Hidalgo County Sheriff did not return, and Watchdog's phone calls, and the status of the 3 officers is unclear. The Hidalgo County Commissioner Dar Shannon told NM Watchdog, "I don't know about the status of the officers. I hate to admit it, but I don't know anything. A county commissioner cannot have anything to do with personnel matters." The county commission chair, Ed Bim Kerr, wouldn't speak with NM Watchdog, referring questions to the county manager, Jose Salazar. Salazar then referred questions to the county's attorney, Damian Martinez, who refused to comment. What a bunch of cowards. Wow. Tells you they have their own testicles in their mouth. Excuse my language, but that's how I really feel about these bastards. And they should just shut the whole damn force in that county, in that town of Deming. So pathetic. And of course, those idiots at the hospital, Gila Regional Medical Center, which is in the other county, supposedly. Yeah, it is in the other county. So, the doctor should get a punch in the mouth too. And everyone else that helped in, because they assumed they make an ass out of you and me. Well, I could say this: very unconstitutional, violates their inherited rights and enumeration rights. Of course, the warrant was totally unacceptable. That's usually on Article 1 of the New Mexico State Constitution. And I'm going to post it on there too. And some of these cops in those areas, they better be careful, because one day they're going to get a big rude awakening by people who are going to get armed and start shooting back, fighting this corruption. And a good history lesson, it was called the Battle of Athens, Tennessee. They try to play games with the people, and you know what? The GIs who were involved with the little in the challenge of the elections, they took it as a last resort, got the guns, and started shooting at the jail in Athens, Tennessee. It was a very interesting story. I'm going to post a link on that too. So I'm going to hopefully I'll put the New Mexico Constitution and Battle of Athens, Tennessee, just so to give these people a nice little reality check. Because everyone's got to stop being yes people to these bunch of scumbags that claim to be peace officers. To me, they're not more than corrupted thugs. I'm not saying all of them in that entity, even in Deming and in the town of Deming and Hidalgo County, because I know there's some good cops out there. But it is very disturbing when you got corruption that's spreading like lice. All right, trying to suck people's blood and energies away, and all those. And as far as I'm concerned, he should just recall the sheriff and to even toss the damn DA out too, and all these little pathetic sympathizing cohorts. I can't condemn the commissioner Dar Shannon, but you know what? That's public information. Screw him. He should be calling them out too. And that's all I have to say. So I'm going to add 2 other stuff in there as well. And next one here is from the Daily Signal. It's titled, actually I got this originally from Blacklisted News. I could thank Doug Owens for that. And it's actually entitled, exclusive, Sharyl Attkisson on journalism, very dangerous trend. And it says here, Sharyl Attkisson, an award-winning investigative reporter who resigned from CBS News earlier this year, says the news media are heading down a dangerous path with attempts to censor or block stories that don't align with their preferred agenda. There's a tendency in the news media on the part of some managers to censor or block stories that do not fall in line with the message they want sent to their viewers. Attkisson said in an exclusive interview with the Daily Signal, "I think it's really very dangerous perspective to have." In the first 3 segments, Attkisson shared views on journalism and life after CBS News. Her newest investigative report about oxygen trails conducted by premature babies was published by the Daily Signal today. She will serve as a senior independent contributor to the news organization, which made its debut Tuesday. Attkisson makes headlines. Makes headlines in March when she left CBS News after 20-year career as a TV network. In subsequent interviews, she cited her inability to get her stories on the air. While what I'm seeking now, Attkisson said, is the important to bring underserved stories to a broad audience through an editorial process that doesn't censor, that doesn't try to direct a story to go in certain unnatural direction. Attkisson is writing a book due out later this year called Stonewalled by Fight for the Truth Against the Forces of Obstruction, Intimidation, and Harassment in Obama's Washington. She has criticized the administration for lack of transparency surrounding the Benghazi terrorist attack. Her critique of the White House is shared by other journalists, including from former New York Times editor Jill Abramson and Pulitzer Prize-winning reporter James Risen, who faces jail time over dispute with the Obama administration. In an interview, Attkisson was troubling about the news and business and why she agreed to contribute to Daily Signal. Daily Signal promised to be a good outlet for an underserved story. In this case, this is the ones about more baby oxygen trails, and that the story could naturally tell itself in fearless way because there are people who do not want to shy from these types of stories that are critical of the government or power that be. I think those are some of the most important stories that need to be told today. And that's this. Let me see here. Oh yeah, cool. Okay, cool. Because there's an article on that too about a link in below for disclosure to Americans' government on preemies hide risk. Yes, so this is the first time I checked you guys out, and I would recommend them. You know, so it'd be very cool to check it out. And Miss Attkisson is right, because the fact is, my friend, news people have to be watchdogs, political watchdogs, and I do have to give her a lot of credit for coming out and give her lots of homage for that. So yeah, definitely check these guys out. I already did my email subscription, and let me see here. Boom. Yeah, I'm gonna check her in right now. I'm doing it right now, my friends. Oh, I followed him now. So now I'm gonna get the Daily Signal. Good stuff, good stuff. I like that a lot. And of course, even Thomas Jefferson was good. Was very for, you know, strong government, minimal government, and open transparency. So, as you know, maybe on the Heritage Foundation, but you know what? Observe responsibly. So, good for her. You know what? Let's check out let's check out this video. It's like 4 minutes long, so hopefully you don't mind. I'll just bring this up a little bit so we can get enough, and I will proceed. Hopefully it won't freeze on me or all that good stuff here. Sorry about that. You know what? That's no big deal. So we'll do it later. So let me see here. Finally, It's the first time. Actually, it's the first time I'm going to be doing like a market report. So this is pretty cool. It says here, how solar will destroy the power companies in 5 easy steps. This was written by Rob Weil. Alright, as it reads, Barclays recently downgraded the entire U.S. electric utility sector to underweight on the threat posed by widespread adoption of solar storage. These systems allow homeowners to refuse to use rooftop solar panels and a battery to cut all of the figurative emergency backup cord to their local electric grid, putting a severe strain on an industry that has been a de facto monopoly. The firm's sweeping case focused in a large part on debt markets, apparent ignorance to challenge utilities are facing. We wanted to zero in on the astonishing simple step that makes Barclays lays out to make shaking up utilities quite possible. 1. Solar prices come down. For the past few years, we've been quietly living through a stunning drop in prices thanks to an unintended loop of massive European subsidies and capacity overexpansion in China. As a result, from 2006 to 2013, photovoltaic panel prices dropped nearly 70%. The next step is for shortage prices to fall too. Cheap storage is key so that people can have power at night when the sun is down. Right now, the cost of such system about 22 cents kilowatt hours is only competitive in retail electricity in Hawaii. Cost of vanilla electricity in California is 15 cents per kilowatt hours. Barclay says Tesla has single-handedly brought down the cost of batteries over the past few years from about $1,000 kilowatt hours in 2009 to $300 per kilowatt hour in early 2014. If the company's Gigafactory successfully ramps up, the cost could plummet. 2. The defection spiral commences. Once the prices for everything get cheap enough, homeowners begin to leave the grid. There remains huge demand for solar, and as costs continue to fall, the price point will continue to match that sought by ever lighter hued green thumbs. This expecting scale will make it more expensive to stay on the grid, bringing even more customers into the solar storage orbit. Quote, one solar plus battery approaches the real total cost of power. Its advantage can scale quickly, Barclays says. 3. Utilities flail around their state capitals seeking relief. We've already seen this in Arizona, where the state's electric utility has spent more than $3 million in a campaign to discourage solar adoption in the state. California's utilities also won new surcharges, and Solar City recently charged them with a slow-walking grid connection. Neither will prove more than speed bumps in the long run. Barclay said, while they may slow the penetration of solar, any relief they offered utilities is likely to be short-lived. In Arizona, the fee increases the cost of a rooftop solar installation about 5%. With the cost of solar installations falling about 10% per year, we expect the pace of installations to recover before the end of 2014. While we need more months of data to confirm our view, this may be proved to be an example of how quickly the technological cost curves can overtake regulatory responses. 4. The decommissioning process begins. As demand for baseload generation becomes less consistent, utilities could be forced to replace aging power units earlier than scheduled with more modern and efficient peakers. This could end up lowering utility margins as well as bring forward cost loads. This is the key moment. The utility companies being forced to upgrade their plants in face for a declining customer base. That's a killer combination. 5. The market turns. In Germany, aggressive subsidies and a move away from nuclear led to an explosion of renewables expansion since the beginning of 2010, though, for a reason that go beyond simply that outgrowth. Germany's 2 largest utilities had stock price decline of 55 to 60% and compare with near 60% gain in the DAX. You know what I say? Open up the market, get rid of the agenda of neo-mercantilism. Open up the free market. I like to use the word neo-capitalist because they hate the free market. They're the people who are under the categories that supports mercantilism, neo-mercantilism, corporatism, fascism, etc. That's what I call neo-capitalists. Open up the markets. Let them compete. Keep these people on their toes. There's even stories in the past that solar power has been around for over 100 years. A little bit past 100 years. So I'm going to have to look it up. Hopefully you can too. And I'll tell you one thing. If we can get this, you know who's going to hurt more too? It's nuclear power plants. You know what I say? The hell with them. The hell with these big monopolistic companies that believe we should kiss their behinds or the floor they walk on. Oh, let the market open. And you know what? We'll see a big difference in the core, especially the working economy can explode in a positive note. All right, my friends. I'd like to thank you for taking the time to listen. And like I said last night, I was a little bit tired. I had to run around, but at least hopefully I'll make this up to you. And if you want to hit me with your comments, questions, middle fingers, commend me, go to my Spreaker page, which will be posted, and it get me on Facebook, Twitter. Of course, I got Google Plus, which I just post stuff on there, and I gotta go get back into the worldtruth.org. I haven't been on there in a while, so I was hoping I could post some of my past episodes in there as well. So, thank you for your time, and as my closing statement, and it will be traditional. Demoniac resistance is healthy for the soul and can liberate societies. Till next time, take care of yourselves, keep on spreading the love, and may your guardian spirits be with you.